Well, ladies and gentlemen, Taiga1 doing this is Colin Ulrich.
And I'm Rangru, hello, hello, hello.
And folks, today, kind of starting off our coverage for this particular week, we're over on that lovely map of Bobr, but Rang, who do we have, please, and with what?
On the left-hand side in blue, we have shkodder playing 3rd Fallschirmjaeger Division with a Flatline income, and on the right-hand side, we have Taiga1 with a rather long and funny name, playing as a Maverick income.
Yeah, with that third Tankovy core, you and I were talking about this just before we kind of got started today. That means we have the IS-2 and the Sherman spam. So, what's the prognosis? How the heck can the Fallschirmjaegers hold up against such reckless hatred?
Yeah, the Shermans are really just quite deadly, especially on a map like this, where it's nice and close quarters and there are long engagements. Fortunately for Fallschirmjägers, I mean, you do have the Pak-41s, Puchins, your Fallschirmjägers, the Panzerfaust, so you're not hurting too much in close range anti-tank, but it can still be a bit of a pain.
That certainly seems to be the case. Now, it looks like the main arterial kind of movements and be up here to the north. In fact, we're seeing the IL-2 already looking to take out that Fallschirmjaeger 2. And what's up, 1, 2, 3 Shermans already with a fair chunk of infantry looking to push away this early thumb-and-rough movements. Not for nothing, but I cannot help but feel, especially with indications like that, I'm confident for those plucky paratroopers.
No, they're pretty much going to get reeded out of that forest now, the guards and other Russian infantry being brought in to clear things up. shkodder does have a defensive line set up north here, with a Pak-38 at least, and bringing in some anti-air because the IR-2's running around and blowing everything up.
It certainly is. You know, it's always kind of funny for me to always see the Fallschirmjaeger or the airborne divisions kind of be a little bit less, I don't want to say beefy necessarily, because that's kind of obvious right there, but they're a little less air power to really seem to get used whenever we have an airborne division, which is always so perversely weird to me.
Yeah, they're really more of just infantry divisions. I mean, it kind of makes sense. You're not like you're not doing the paratrooper thing of dropping them behind enemy lines, because that would be a bit silly in a tactical battle such as this. But yeah, I think you usually just spending that money on getting those elite infantry out, because those Fallschirmjägers can be pretty pricey at 35 points.
True, and even those anti-tank guns are really not that cheap, and when you lose them to very early air power, you kind of have to be a little bit nervous about the prognosis overall. But as we kind of continue to develop here, a bit of a rather surrealist portrait kind of being shown. There is a 76-2 in the north that just continues to kind of pound German defenses pretty consistently. In fact, it's probably going to force this MG42 into being pinned, which is not going to be good with this argument cheeky being right next door.
Yeah, this is definitely a very good push here from Taiga, just concentrating everything on its northern flank. I usually find pushing from Taiga's flank over to the other flag is actually a very good way to push on this map. Because yes, you do have that hillside, but it also acts as a benefit, as you can only put so much along the ridge as there's no real cover, so you have quite a bit of a gap that you could run up units and get nice and close into the town. And then by end, you'll pretty much got the hill.
Yes, indeed. Let's get a bit of a furball happen down to the south. No, never mind. That was a rather quick kill there. I'm actually quite surprised by some rather unique duels, like Aziz engaging an MG42 from about 20 yards away.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of this MG42 play, which you don't only see heavy machine gun play like this all that often, but with Fallschirmjägers where you don't have you don't really have IG-18s, you do have the other support guns, they are nice to have.
They certainly are. Unfortunately, they don't react well when you drop 600 kilograms of bombs on them.
Yeah, that will kind of kill their machine gun team.
Kind of removes the mood. And here, actually, right now to the north, we're seeing exactly what we're talking about. So if you check the line of sight over here on this ridge line, you can see that they are in that beaten zone just shy of the crest of the hill. And even when you get up to the crest of the hill, there's all these initial buildings that just have such, rinky-dink, little tiny, thin sight lines between everything.
Yeah. And he is moving up some Fallschirmjägers to try to... If he can get us Fallschirmjägers up, and maybe he can Panzerfaust a Sherman or two, but Taiga is moving up infantry to screen in front, just like he should. And yeah, those Shermans are just absolutely deadly. We've even got a mortar, I was about to say mortar half track, but a mortar bike just pounding away. Yo, he is hitting, or not hitting, he's missing. He's hitting dirt.
Well, what we're certainly hoping most mortar shells will hit dirt at some point. But right now, actually, we're going to see one more IL-2 coming in, and he's going to kill first what's going to hurt him most. And that Pack 40 is not so far.
Yeah. Finally seen some armored play here from shkodder with Sonic 3, as well as those Italian recon cars, and a Panzerschrank. You really could use that Panzerschrank.
We're seeing already that the Pack 40 is already gone. And that's, I mean, you're placed perfectly from the Russian perspective. This is absolutely perfect. Kill the light vehicles, kill the AT guns, and other than that, just give standoff firepower, more than anything else.
Yeah, at close range, I mean, those Shermans are really quite brutal. And now he's getting in more infantry, gonna be... I feel like he's gonna bring some along that, like, northern southern bridge. I mean, he's moving one guard DP. Okay, he's getting 2 more guard squads to reinforce, yeah. And capturing a second bridgehead is definitely a pretty huge bane, or pretty good gain, not a bane. It's a good thing.
It's a bane for the thirds. But which third we don't know.
I know. There's a lot of thirds in this game in total. Like it's 3rd Armor Division, 3rd Mechanized Division, 3rd Canadian Division. I mean, there's too many threes.
No, actually, you know what that means? If you add them all up, they're quite irrational. A little bit of math joke there for you guys on Tuesday's show here, but
a prime joke.
Oh yeah, of course. No, we are always prime, and always perfectly square. This AP, the SPW over here, doing a little bit of firepower. I mean, not going to do a whole lot with the tanks themselves. We'll see it die pretty quickly. Shkodder actually might get a bit of revenge here and there.
Yeah, I mean, he's in a pretty decent position until he gets bazookaed by a Devka. But a second Stuka is going to be taking his place.
Wait, this is Res Vedka?
Yeah, it was a Res Vedka, but he got blew up immediately when he popped out.
Oh, okay, I was going to say, somehow I missed the silhouette on that one. But you can see right now, off-map call-in coming in here, 210. So this was a big enough caliber, high caliber, that it should be able to pressure and stop this push.
Yeah, it's definitely a very good call, a very needed call-in from shkodder, especially considering his whole northern flank is pretty choke pointy. Its off-map artillery should do some decent damage, especially considering the Sherman is moving into position.
Now, regrettably, though, this IL-2, if he gets any kind of eyes on, this is going to be the end of that rather brave call-in pretty quickly.
Yeah, and does he have eyes? I don't think so, no. He's just doing a bombing run on those Fallschirmjaegers. And here comes the off-map. And it's going to come in just perfectly as the reinforcements are being brought in as well. That is really good timing. Definitely giving shkodder much needed relieved so he can bring in reinforcements.
Well, like you said, and the trade-off here is that, yes, you get Fallschirmjaegers in, and Skirmjaegers as well. That's kind of rather delicious there. Regrettably, though, is they're so freaking expensive. I'm willing to trade 2 or 3 spots of infantry for your 1, because I'll win that every single time, and twice on Sunday.
Yeah, that's really the tough part with Fallschirmjaegers is they are expensive. They are really good for the price. I mean, they do have... I mean, I was going to say I have machine guns, but that doesn't matter. You got semi-automatic and fully automatic rifles with G43s and FG42s, which is really what does a lot of the killing for the most part. But yeah, it's really... I mean, as we've seen time and time again with SD2 infantry fight, it's just about numbers.
I'm pretty sure why the Russians won that in the first place is why 50% of the bombing run might even take out 2 with 1 blow. Well, he took that building and a half, but...
Killing the Panzerschrank definitely gonna, you know, keep his sermons a little bit, less stressed out. I was trying to think of something fancy, but what is fancy is this IS-2 coming in. Definitely gonna be... Definitely a little bit overkill for the northern flank, as is, you know, it's a rather close-range map.
No, but there is a certain level of... I'm not gonna say necessity per se, there's a certain level of just kind of neededness to shock and make things pretty awful here. Make it as unbearable as possible. I know at this point I'm the third and I see an IST roll up. I'm thinking to myself, alright, do I pack it in already? I'm not going to scratch it. There's nothing I've got to be able to scratch him unless I'm somehow able to get some infantry in nice and close. I don't know.
Yeah, well, he could also get, like, his best bet in that sort of situation is try to get that Panzerschreck or Puchen out.
Now that I agree with as well. It's relatively mobile, all things considered, and so I was watching as this next attempt to push across the center begins to develop. Yes, we have a quick TOT to the north, but, you know, big deal.
Yeah.
My assumption is we might see at least one of the Tankovy Maverick going down here. No, so he's just engaging the tank.
Yeah. Will that Pack 38 actually get the kill? No, he's going to be pulling back instead of continuing to shoot. Oh, that's because he's trying to bring in a Panzerschreck to try to get the snipe, which is going to work. Yeah, there we go. And that should slow down that push for a little bit. I mean, the infantry's still, yeah, but the infantry is slower than a tank.
Much slower than a tank, but unfortunately for him, there's still another Sherman that's just coming down.
Yeah.
Rather rail-shaped forest clearing, so. Second barrage comes into the north, doing, like we said, an admirable job trying to stem the bleeding. But I think this is I think it's going to be kind of a difficult prospect, even as we move into that phase B. This is where the Russians are really going to step up the game in that way.
Yeah, I mean, the income advantage in phase B is pretty significant, but it does even out in essential shkodder as they have the same advantage heading into C phase. But the question is, well, will they be able to survive into C phase, as Taiga is doing a pretty damn good job of keeping up the pressure on that 915, and also on a map like this, especially with, you know, a less armoured infantry division, it can be hard to make a breakthrough because you're having to push through one of these very narrow, you know, bridge choke points, which can be pretty costly if you don't have armoured vehicles.
Very true. Now, interesting, we're actually going to see an SG-43 being brought on here to the center, looking to backstop this rather developing push that's going on here between the Shermans and the late infantry squads. But wait, there's a duck.
Crack, crack. It's going for the IS-2.
Understandable, but I imagine he's going to die pretty quickly as the IL-2 comes in. 12-7s and 7.62s.
And Jordan IL stacks are extremely slow and not agile, so even the IL-2 can easily kill him. It doesn't have any anti-air. But oh no, the duck's... maybe a duck is faster. No, it is slower. It's much slower.
Yeah, I was going to say. I mean,
yeah.
The IL-2 was dithering quite a bit, and he still somehow managed to catch back up.
Yeah. Yeah, it can be a real... It's really quite luring to take those B3s in third Fallschirmjaeger, especially if you come from ST-44 where they're very, very powerful. But here in ST-2, I don't think it works as well. The anti-air is usually a little bit more scary if it's set up, and if you don't have anti-air or airplane set up yourself, even just, you know, a common IL-2 or really any airplane can easily shoot you down.
Is regrettably true. Now we're seeing right now there's that Sherman on the southern slope of the northernmost hill. And just locking rounds down range and interdicting this infantry. You can see it right now. shkodder, I mean, like you said, I'm fine to get rid of the enemy's vehicles and try to trade out some of my own. Because now we're seeing the interdiction of the infantry.
Yeah. We've seen all the Aptos coming in to try and clear through the forest.
Well, he's
and that
fed. About 3 seconds.
Yeah.
2. I was off by a second, but I don't think it matters much for those poor devils.
No.
Right now.
Yeah, one of them's going to surrender at full HP still, which is not a good loss. He's bringing in a bunch of Stags, but that's not really going to do too much. Yeah, third mechanized is a real bastard division to fight on a especially map like it's just like with the first Polish infantry division. It's just there's enough of those, cheap medium tanks, especially Shermans, which are better in the T-34-76s, and not as much infantry compared to other infantry divisions, but enough to still be a pain in the ass when you're just having hordes of Drelkeys, or I mean guards and Avtos flooding your positions.
Yep. So I'm not going to suggest these three musketeers over here are that's impossible for them to kind of turn the tide. It's just that to a certain extent they're trying to stop the tide with their good intentions, and their hands kind of spread really wide.
Yeah, and Taiga's done a really good job of just exploiting the momentum. Like, he didn't just continue hounding array at the far northern flank, where he was just constantly getting off-map artillery. He actually expanded his assault down south and managed to reave his way into the center part of the map and capture a huge amount of territory. Which is nice to see someone actually do that rather than just, as we see time and time again, people just butt heads in one specific flank and then nothing happens, even though you could just move south a little bit, or north, depending on the map, and capture, swaths of territory, huge tracts of land.
And isn't that what we all want in life? Just a huge tract of land. Good field to plow.
Or Shromp.
Exactly. And very, very patient masons.
Yeah. Do you want to take us to ×2 at like 17?
Sounds good. And here comes that ×2. Folks, I think it's pretty easy to see where the writing is on this one right here. Regrettably, it looks like Taiga is gonna see his opponent kind of ground down into the dust just a lot too quickly.
Yeah.
This is one of those divisional mismatches that you want to avoid. It's very, very difficult to kind of fight uphill both ways on this map.
Yeah, third Fallschirmjaeger is just... I mean, they weren't great in ST44, but in ST2 they're also not great. I mean, currently, right now, of infantry, it just comes down to numbers and infantry spam. And you can kind of do that with third Fallschirmjaegers, because you got good availability on the Fallschirmjaegers, but you don't have the price efficiency compared to other, especially Russian infantry squads in this regard. And also the lack of actual armor and whatnot can definitely hinder you.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, the Strokes and the Pak-40s, when they're only fighting even numbers, can give a good account of themselves. But good luck engaging the IS-2s.
Yeah.
Good luck engaging the numbers of Shermans, and these IL-2s are just absolutely devastating.
Yeah. The PE-2's coming in now. Pretty heavy bomb loadout.
Even more so when we see things a little like, wait a second. Part of me thought that the PE-2 was going to go and start making some gun runs. Thankfully, it didn't quite happen.
Taiga's just mopping up the southern end of the map now. Pretty much means to secure all of the bridgeheads. But shkodder is going to be fighting it till the last man.
Which you kind of have to respect a little bit, but this is Crete, and good Fallschirmjaeger over here is not going to have this entered into any annals of history.
Nope. I'm going to be pretty curious to see what the KD ratio will be like at the end. Well, it's probably going to be pretty bad.
Actually, there were some Shermans that went down right at the end. I think it was a lot closer than you think.
Okay, 900, that's not too bad considering the amount of territory Taiga managed to take, but looking at the kills... Goddamn, one of those Shermans.
I was wrong. And the IL-2 as well.
Yeah. Damn, knocking out like 2 anti-tank guns, and the B3. That's a pretty damn good IL-2, right? Yeah. Definitely paid himself off.
A bit of an HVT, isn't it? Yeah.
And then losses, it really just... The off-map was really king. There wasn't much of a king, more of a prince, for shkodder in terms of effectiveness.
Well, at least it wasn't a jester. That's kind of an important thing. But hey, folks, we're not going to dwell on this. Again, bad luck to shkodder over here to match up third tank against third Fallschirmjaeger. But you know what? Sometimes you're the windshield, sometimes you're the bug.
Yep.
Any final thoughts for this one, sir?
None.
Okay, folks, we're going to keep it short and sweet today, so you guys stay sweet as well, and I guess we will see you all soon. Until next time, I'm Conor Work.
I'm Rangru, take it easy.